You probably don't remember, but if you went to public school in America in the 1990s, you were 100% tested for psychic ability. If you passed the first test that you didn't know you took, you were given a second test that you didn't know you were taking. And if you passed the second test you didn't know you were taking, you got put into the GATE program. The GATE program was the Gifted and Talented Education Program. I was a psychic in the Navy, and the number one question I get when I tell people that is, how did you get that job? Did you just walk in there and ask them for it? And I always have to tell them no, because that is not how it works. I actually got discovered when I was in elementary school at 10 years old through the GATE program. The GATE program was actually run by the CIA, and because they did it in elementary schools, most people assumed that they meant gifted and talented, like you may be gifted at reading or talented at math. That's not what they meant, babe. They meant, do you have a gift? Are you talented at psychic ability? First of all, what they were looking for was people to serve in the military, and they were looking for somebody that was good at a specific psychic ability called psychometry, the ability to read the energy of objects. If anybody's followed my page for long enough, somewhere on there is a video that says, I was a psychic in the Navy, but it doesn't work the way you think it works. I actually can feel the energy of mechanical objects, and I can tell you where they're broken. That is what the GATE program was looking for. Does anybody remember these cards? The cards with the pictures on the back. And one person would hold it up, and you were supposed to be able to visualize or see if you could visualize the picture on the other side of the card. You were not supposed to be guessing. You were trying to see if you could actually feel or tell what was on the other side of the card, either through a physical feeling, a vision in your head, or just something, right? But you were not supposed to be guessing. They would say specifically the word visualize on purpose because they did not want you to guess. They wanted to know if you knew. The other thing that they would give us to play with in that program were these tangrams, right? These are tangrams. They're these shapes that they would give you a picture, and you were supposed to see if you could use the shapes to make a picture. Anybody who's served in the military has also seen tangrams on the ASVAB, because the two tests that they gave you to determine whether or not you would go into the GATE program were IQ tests, and the military entrance test is also an IQ test. Those tests are testing your processing speed. The Gifted and Talented Education Program was meant to test whether or not you were capable of psychometry. Now, let me tell you why the tangrams are specifically important. Because if you were really, really, really good at the tangrams, usually it was because you were really gifted at psychometry. I feel it physically inside my chest, which of the pieces are going to go into the final object, and I can see the final object in my head. I can see those specific, and they're all different colors. I would be able to see very clearly. Pieces feel differently to me because I am a psychometrist. So why were they looking for that? Well, I'll tell you. So I was in a squadron called HSC 84. It was the only squadron in the Navy that was dedicated specifically to special operations support, combat, search, and rescue. That is exactly what it sounds like. We only operated in combat. The moment the war was over, we were over. The squadron decommissioned. So why did they need a psychometrist? If any of those helicopters were gonna crash, I could feel it. I put a video up about this before. I'll make another one if you guys want me to. But if at any point, any of those helicopters was going to have a critical malfunction, if it was going to have an operational failure, I could feel inside both of my chest and somewhere right here behind like my nose. I wish I could like point to the place where it is, because it's like an intersection somewhere right in there. Anyway, that almost feels like it's pulling forward, and I visualize the part of the helicopter, the mechanical piece, the function, the whatever that was going to malfunction, and I can say something about it before they ever take off of the ground. There were at least 7 that I can remember where I just suddenly felt this feeling like something was going to happen, and I said something to somebody, and I went and fixed it, or I went and checked on it, or whatever it was that we needed to check on. And sometimes it would be really small things. It would be bolts that weren't tight. It would be tiny screws, cam locks that weren't put all the way, that would possibly cause one of the covers of one of the gearboxes to fly off and into the road ahead, or just get lost or anything like that. I did it after I left that squadron as well a few times with my second squadron. It was a passenger plane squadron. We did not go into combat at all, but there were a few times where I just out of nowhere got the feeling, and so I said I'm gonna go out in the hangar and check on the plane, and sure enough, I'd walk out there and there'd be a major hydraulic leak, something wrong with the jack screw in the plane, or just any number of things. But I can feel the energy of objects. Now, how does that come in handy in my daily life? My friends literally always text me to find their lost shit. They'll be on the other side of the country, but your girl's good. I still find them. If you look at the way I keep my stuff, it is usually a giant wreck. But at any given point, I know absolutely where everything is. I can feel it. I can think about the object, and I can see wherever it's sitting in my pile of things that I need to clean up. Do I still try to clean? Yes, but am I good at it? Absolutely not. Objects also all feel very different to me, so trying to organize them is actually really difficult for me. To me, they are different objects and they don't go together. Even if they are the same thing, I can feel the energy between two different objects of the same thing. They just completely feel differently to me. Anyway, this is something that I've actually taught people how to do. It's not that difficult to learn. Most people can actually do it already. They just don't realize they're doing it. It does take some patience to get a lot better at it and be able to use it. Honestly, I would say about 80% of the people that I've tried to show, get it really quickly. It's really easy. I literally just pick up things around my house and I say, hey, what's in my hand? And I don't show you, but what I teach you is how to decipher. Most people get it right within the first few tries or within 5 or 6 minutes. And the only thing that I'm actually teaching you is how to pick out the correct information from the rest of the energetic information that you get. Anyway, I hope you learned something today. And if you didn't, then go drink some water. And even if you did, go drink some water because it definitely doesn't work if you don't drink enough water.